From a grade 3 AC sprain, the company tried to keep quiet live stream where she hurled a homophobic slur. And even a full-on panic attack right before a big event.
My confidence definitely was tainted a little bit.
These are 11 shocking clips of Rhea Ripley that WWE never wanted the public to see. Starting with the homophobic slur incident. In April 2019, a 22-year-old Ripley was participating in what seemed like harmless entertainment, a casual Twitch stream organized by wrestling personalities where fans could donate money to request personalized insults. The format was simple enough. Viewers would tip money, often $15 or so, and ask to be roasted in specific styles, whether Australian slang, Spanish phrases, or other regional flavors. This type of interactive stream was becoming increasingly popular in the wrestling community, sometimes tied to charity efforts. What started as lighthearted banter quickly spiraled into a career-defining controversy. The incident occurred on the evening of April 24, 2019, when a male fan donated $15 specifically requesting to be insulted in Australian slang, a nod to Ripley's Adelaide roots. The response that followed would haunt Ripley's early career.
Yeah, now you're contact, you stupid motherfucker.
The slur ignited swift outrage, particularly from the LGBTQ+ community within the wrestling fanbase, who viewed it as a harmful reinforcement of anti-gay rhetoric. Within minutes, clips began circulating on social media platforms. The backlash was immediate and intense. Fans drew parallels to WWE's handling of Lars Sullivan's past homophobic forum posts, questioning why Ripley faced less scrutiny despite her rising status. Critics highlighted what they saw as hypocrisy. Ripley's damage control came swiftly. Less than 2 hours after the clip surfaced, she posted an apology on X. "I know a lot of you are upset with me after tonight, but I just wanted to publicly say that I'm sorry. My brain-to-mouth filter came down for a second, and I forgot that some words are a big no-no to a lot of people." What's most telling about this incident is WWE's complete silence. Unlike high-profile cases involving other wrestlers, WWE issued no official statement, apology, or disciplinary action. The Twitch VOD was quickly deleted, scrubbing the clip from official archives, though fan-captured snippets briefly circulated before being flagged and removed from platforms like X. But while Ripley weathered controversy outside the ring, her greatest battle wouldn't come from fans online. It would come from her own mind. The panic attack before Wrestlemania 40. Behind the intimidating facade of Mommy and the Eradicator lies a deeply human story of vulnerability that WWE never wanted their audience to see. Rhea Ripley's panic attack just 2 hours before her high-stakes title defense against Becky Lynch at Wrestlemania 40 reveals the intense pressure that WWE's biggest stars face behind the curtain. Wrestlemania 40 represented a pivotal moment in Ripley's career. She was defending her Women's World Championship on Night 1 at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, aiming to solidify her status as the premier female wrestler after a dominant run that included winning the title from Charlotte Flair the previous year. The match itself would prove to be a grueling 18-minute classic where Ripley retained her championship, but what happened backstage nearly derailed everything. Ripley opened up about the incident during an April 2024 appearance on the Insight with Chris Van Vliet podcast, describing the experience in vivid detail. "I legit was having a straight-up panic attack 2 hours before I walked through the curtain, and I was violently shaking, just nervous. This wasn't mere pre-match jitters." Ripley emphasized it was a full-body overwhelm that left her trembling uncontrollably, a manifestation of deep-seated confidence struggles she had been grappling with amid online criticism and the weight of expectations as champion. "If you don't get nervous before you go out, especially at WrestleMania, you obviously don't love it enough," Ripley explained. "But this episode was unusually intense, taking over my body."
My confidence definitely was tainted a little bit, which sucks because I try and keep it up and do my best all the time. I don't know if it was just something inside my head that just wasn't getting the picture, but I don't know, I got a little bit lost after that.
WWE chose not to publicize the panic attack at the time, keeping it an internal matter to maintain the company's polished image of unbreakable superstars. Support came from key backstage figures, WWE Talent Relations Executive Jason Jordan, drawing from their own experiences with performance anxiety. The transformation that occurred once Ripley reached the gorilla position demonstrates the remarkable mental fortitude required at WWE's highest level. The panic subsided dramatically once she stepped through alongside her entrance band, motionless in white, whose heavy metal riffs fueled her signature moshing entrance. All those nerves that I had just sort of flew away, she recalled, snapping into her fierce persona and entering the zone, where she felt invincible. This event tied directly into Ripley's broader confidence struggles, exacerbated by toxic online discourse, where fans and critics had scrutinized her promos, in-ring psychology, and booking decisions leading up to the event. The panic attack became a turning point, reinforcing her resilience and inspiring fans facing similar mental health battles. She conquered her own fears, but in Oklahoma, the danger came from the crowd. The fan barricade incident during her entrance. On October 16, 2023, during WWE Monday Night Raw at the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, an unusual and disruptive incident occurred during Rhea Ripley's highly anticipated entrance that WWE immediately tried to downplay and scrub from their broadcast. The event took place just weeks before Crown Jewel, where Ripley was set to defend her Women's World Championship, making the timing particularly awkward for WWE's production team. The episode was building momentum toward Crown Jewel, with Ripley positioned as the unchallenged heel champion, complete with her signature purple lighting and commanding entrance that often draws massive crowd reactions. With over 12,000 fans in the arena creating a charged atmosphere, Ripley's entrance began as usual, around 8:45 p.m. CST. Midway through her walk to the ring, a male fan in the front row suddenly became wayward, lunging over the barricade in an attempt to approach Ripley directly. What made the incident particularly ironic was the fan's attire. He was wearing a black t-shirt featuring Dominic Mysterio's face, specifically referencing Mysterio's prison dom gimmick, adding a humorous element given Ripley's on-screen adoptive mommy role over Mysterio. WWE security stationed along the barricade quickly restrained the fan, while local Oklahoma City police were called in due to the breach. The fan was handcuffed on the spot and escorted through the crowd toward an arena exit, all unfolding in real time as Ripley's music continued blaring and purple strobes lit up the venue. The entire sequence lasted under 30 seconds, captured in a shaky fan-recorded video that went viral on social media. Ripley, professional as ever, did not break character or acknowledge the chaos, maintaining her heels stare down at ringside while security handled the situation. True to form, WWE made a deliberate choice to downplay the incident during the live broadcast. No replay footage was shown on the Titantron. Commentators didn't mention it, and the production truck cut away from wide shots capturing the escort to avoid derailing the segment's momentum. Post-show, WWE issued no official statement, consistent with their policy on minor fan disruptions, where they prioritize seamless storytelling over sensationalizing off-script moments. Still, nothing embarrassed Ripley more than her comedic detour with the Robert Stone brand. The comedic wilderness period with Robert Stone brand. Perhaps no period in Rhea Ripley's career has been more thoroughly scrubbed from WWE's highlight reels than her bizarre 2020 feud with the Robert Stone brand, a comedic storyline that many consider beneath her established nightmare persona. This wilderness period following her high-profile loss of the NXT Women's Championship to Charlotte Flair at Wrestlemania 36 saw WWE Creative place the former 300-day champion in a series of mid-card storylines that contrasted sharply with her intimidating dominance. The feud highlighted Ripley's versatility, allowing her to lean into physical comedy and mockery, but also drew criticism for underutilizing her athleticism and star power during a crucial career moment. Robert Stone, formerly known as Robert Evans in the indie scene, debuted on NXT as a sleazy, opportunistic talent agent desperate for clients after being publicly fired by Chelsea Green on live television. The feud's most infamous moment occurred during the June 17, 2020 episode when Stone, still in his disheveled state, staggered to ringside carrying his booze bag during Aaliyah's match against Rhea Ripley. In a grotesque spot that became an infamous lowlight, Stone climbed the apron and vomited directly onto Rhea Ripley, distracting her long enough for Aaliyah to roll her up for a cheap pinfall victory. The feud's comedic peak unfolded over two key matches, including the June 24, 2020 encounter where Ripley's dominance over the hapless Stone was on full display. The pre-match dumpster incident saw Stone and Aaliyah ambush Ripley during her entrance, but she no-sold their attacks and hoisted Stone into a conveniently placed dumpster ringside, his legs flailing comically. The handicap match at NXT Great American Bash Night 1 on July 1, 2020, carried high stakes with a stipulation that a Ripley loss meant she'd be forced to sign with the brand. The match leaned heavily into gags with Stone's hesitant tags, Aaliyah's frantic covers, and Ripley's nonchalant double-team counters, including her ability to suplex both opponents simultaneously. Stone's wrestling involved cowardly slaps and a failed figure 4 attempt, drawing laughs as Ripley toyed with him like a jobber before sealing victory with a double riptide. Critics called the storyline silly and pointless, a far cry from her intense battles with Shayna Baszler, and it contributed to perceptions of Ripley drifting without purpose. The feud's coda came in a steel cage match on September 8th against Mercedes Martinez, where Martinez targeted Ripley's legs with kendo stick shots in a more vicious tone, but Stone fired Martinez on the spot for failing him, disbanding the direct threat. And if comedy wasn't bad enough, a botched rescue made Ripley look even worse. The delayed entrance saved Botch. During the height of NXT's golden era, one of the most awkward and meme-worthy moments occurred on February 26, 2020, when Rhea Ripley completely botched what should have been a heroic rescue during the main event between Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair. This incident perfectly encapsulated the tension between character presentation and live television reality, creating a moment so awkward that WWE's highlight packages consistently avoid it. The match was positioned as Charlotte Flair sending a message to Ripley while giving Bianca Belair a rub against a main roster legend, with Flair making her first NXT TV appearance since August 2015. After Flair's victory in the 12-minute encounter, she immediately escalated into heel brutality, screaming, "This is my house," and grabbing a steel chair to trap Belair's ankle before applying her figure-8 leg lock. At the 20-25 second mark of Flair's beatdown, Ripley's heavy metal theme hit with her signature entrance pyro exploding on the stage. As NXT Women's Champion and Flair's upcoming WrestleMania opponent, Ripley's run-in was telegraphed as a heroic "We Are NXT" save, positioning her as the brand's protector. However, this is where the infamous botch occurred. Instead of sprinting to the ring with standard hot tag urgency, Ripley began her full choreographed entrance routine on the stage, including her trademark slow-motion stomp down the steps, high kick pose, headbanging to the music, and exaggerated arm swings. The routine took approximately 15-20 seconds, during which Flair continued torturing Belair uninterrupted, creating an absurd visual of Ripley posing dramatically while Belair writhed in pain below. The immediate fan reaction was brutal. Twitter exploded in real time with posts highlighting the awkwardness. Uproxx labeled it the worst moment of the night, calling Ripley a goober for the slow WWE superstar entrance animation that made her look ineffective. Cageside Seats noted, Rhea Ripley came out to make the save, but casually did her entrance pose while Bianca was injured. Seriously, this was a bad way to go off the air. Years later, Ripley overcorrected, sparking outrage with a playful but polarizing stinkface. The viral stinkface controversy. The stinkface spot involving Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax became one of the most talked about moments in WWE's 2024 live event circuit, occurring during a triple threat match on March 23, 2024, at the Bank of Springfield Center in Springfield, Illinois. What started as a cheeky house show gag exploded into a social media phenomenon, drawing praise for its entertainment value, backlash for its perceived objectification, and pointed criticism from then-rival Becky Lynch. The featured match was a triple threat bout for the WWE Women's World Championship, pitting champion Ripley against challengers Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler during WWE's post-elimination chamber tour leading into WrestleMania 40. Midway through the match, around the 8-10-minute mark, Ripley isolated Jax in the corner following a Baszler distraction. With Jax slumped against the turnbuckles, Ripley channeled Ricochet's classic stink face popularized in the Attitude Era, turning her back to Jax, grabbing the top rope for leverage, and repeatedly backing her glutes into Jax's face while shaking her hips in exaggerated fashion. The sequence lasted about 10-15 seconds, accompanied by Ripley's signature cackle and the crowd's eruption of cheers and laughter. By Sunday morning, the clip had broken the internet, spreading rapidly via X, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram Reels. The spot's momentum collided with WWE's ongoing push for women's wrestling legitimacy, drawing sharp rebuke from Becky Lynch, Ripley's WrestleMania 40 opponent. Lynch addressed it in multiple interviews around March 28, 30, framing it as a setback for progress. That just sucks that we're talking about that. You know, like, when I think of the amount of women that were at one stage, Lynch elaborated that while the spot is fun in isolation, its amplification on social media reinforces outdated tropes, potentially discouraging young fans from seeing wrestling as a skill-based art rather than spectacle centered on physical appeal. Ripley, known for her unapologetic persona, fired back in interviews. "Am I not allowed to have fun? I get criticism for every single little thing I do. You just mad that I'm popular, that's why." While fans debated fun versus respect, Ripley secretly battled a serious hidden injury: the brain and dental injury cover-up. One of WWE's most egregious examples of injury misrepresentation occurred following Rhea Ripley's devastating accident during a fatal four-way match on June 6, 2022, at the Van Andel Arena in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The match, which pitted Ripley against Liv Morgan, Doudrop, and Alexa Bliss for a #1 contender spot to the Raw Women's Championship, would become a case study in WWE's tendency to minimize serious injuries for corporate image purposes. The pivotal moment came during an exchange between Ripley and Morgan, when Morgan executed her signature Oblivion jumping DDT. As the move was executed, Ripley's body arched awkwardly toward the ropes, with her right leg catching and draping over the middle rope, creating dangerous tension. Upon impact with the mat, the rope acted like a slingshot, causing Ripley's leg to snap back violently and propelling her own knee directly into her face, with described in fan footage as a freakish self-inflicted knee strike, but it wasn't immediately flagged as serious by commentators who focused on the match's flow. Remarkably, Ripley powered through to continue, breaking up pin attempts and ultimately sealing victory with her riptide finisher, showing no overt signs of distress despite sustaining both a concussion and dental damage. WWE's damage control was swift but deliberately misleading. On June 13, 2022, they announced that Ripley had suffered a mouth injury sustained in the fatal four-way, rendering her unable to compete at Money in the Bank. This vague phrasing focused solely on the dental aspect, avoiding any mention of the concussion, a common WWE practice due to liability concerns around brain injuries. The full story only emerged when Ripley herself revealed the truth on Instagram, responding to a fan comment with characteristic bluntness. "You don't lock injured like someone said." Her raw, out-of-character reply highlighted frustration with doubters in WWE's opacity, emphasizing the invisibility of concussions with her pointed observation, "Can't see a brain injury." Injury couldn't stop her edge, and soon, Ripley shocked the world by licking Dom. The face-licking viral moment. The face-licking moment on July 22, 2024, episode of Monday Night Raw represents perhaps the most provocative and boundary-pushing segment of Ripley's career, one that WWE has been notably cautious about replaying, despite its massive viral success. This pivotal backstage segment occurred at the Resch Center in Green Bay, Wisconsin, as a key escalation in the ongoing storyline involving Ripley, Dominic Mysterio, and Women's World Champion Liv Morgan. The storyline had been building through Morgan's revenge tour, where she targeted Mysterio through seductive advances, including flirty texts, gifting chicken nuggets, and staging compromising backstage positions. The segment was positioned as a make-or-break moment for Mysterio's allegiance, with Ripley forcing a public confrontation ahead of their SummerSlam mixed tag team match. The segment opened with Ripley storming to the ring, yanking a hooded and visibly nervous Mysterio by his arm like a scolded child, a visual callback to their dominant mommy and her dirty little boy dynamic. With Morgan positioned dramatically on the arena's staircase, she taunted from afar, refusing to enter the ring while emotionally manipulating Mysterio. After a tense confrontation where Mysterio declared his hatred for Morgan in a rare fiery promo, calling her a cabrona, the moment that would define the segment occurred. Ripley's stern expression melted into relief as she pulled Mysterio close, planted a lingering kiss on his cheek, leaving a bold red lipstick mark, and then, in a spontaneous, character-defining twist, licked the side of his face from jawline to temple. The crowd's reaction was thunderous, with a mix of shocked gasps, laughter, and roaring approval for the unhinged energy. Commentary went wild, with Pat McAfee screaming, "Rhea just licked him. This is diabolical. Corey, what is happening?" While Corey Graves quipped, "Mommy's marking her territory." The clip exploded immediately, trending #RheaLicksDom and #DirtyDom worldwide on X within minutes. In a revealing June 2025 interview, Ripley disclosed that Triple H suggested the lick. He said, "Don't kiss him, lick him. It'll be perfect for your character." I thought, yeah, that's mommy. That infamous lick wouldn't be the last. Ripley doubled down during a live auction. The Fanatic's live auction lick incident. The Fanatic's live auction lick incident occurred during a WWE-partnered live auction stream on November 25, 2023, just hours before WWE Survivor Series, capturing Rhea Ripley in a spontaneous and provocative display that went viral while highlighting the tension between her bold mommy character and WWE's sanitized programming. The stream was a pre-Survivor Series special featuring WWE stars including Ripley, The New Day, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, Tyler Breeze, and The Miz, blending auctions with with casual banter. Fanatic's Live's interactive format encourages improvisation to boost engagement, with bidding starting low and unique additions like custom inscriptions spiking interest. The incident occurred midway through Ripley's segment when she was handed a blank index card for autographing, with bidding already begun blindly around $230. With a smirk, Ripley scrawled her signature and added her catchphrase, "Mommy is always on top," then marked an X on the card and wrote, "I licked here," next to it. Holding the card to the camera, Ripley declared, "Okay, I licked here," before extending her tongue and licking the marked spot deliberately, leaving a visible wet sheen on the paper. The action was theatrical. She tilted her head, made eye contact with the lens, and grinned wickedly, embodying her thirsty fan service side. The chat exploded with viewers flooding fire emojis and "mommy" as bids surged from $230 to over $400 within seconds. Bidding ended at $580, won by an anonymous collector. Hours later, Ripley tweeted, "I know my fans, you're welcome," owning the moment without apology. But behind the viral chaos, her reign ended painfully with a devastating shoulder injury. The shoulder injury and WWE's damage control. Our final shocking incident reveals WWE's most recent attempt to control narrative around Rhea Ripley's legitimate injuries, occurring during the April 8, 2024 episode of Monday Night Raw, just 1 week after Wrestlemania 40. At the time, Ripley was the reigning WWE Women's World Champion, holding the title for a record-breaking 380 days as part of her dominant run as leader of the Judgment Day faction. The injury occurred during an intense backstage brawl with longtime rival Liv Morgan as part of Morgan's Revenge Tour storyline, seeking payback for a previous shoulder injury. Morgan had sustained at Ripley's hands in July 2023. During the chaotic fight that spilled into the backstage area, Morgan threw Ripley's shoulder first into a production wall, causing immediate and severe damage to Ripley's right shoulder. Eyewitness accounts described it as a freak accident, with the wall connection being awkward and forceful. Ripley, known for her toughness, broke character during the segment, a rare occurrence for the Australian star, as Morgan continued punching her damaged shoulder. Ripley visibly clutched her arm, pleading in pain and calling for someone to stop the assault. I was like, "Stop, stop, stop!" It was real pain. The injury was diagnosed as a severe grade 3 AC joint sprain/separation, involving complete tears of ligaments holding the joint together. Ripley later revealed the extent. "My collarbone and shoulder blade got ripped apart. The only way to get them back together is through surgery, and I opted not. So it was either surgery, you have a scar, or no surgery, you have a massive lump in your shoulder." The injury ended Ripley's championship reign abruptly when she opened the following Raw in a sling, tearfully vacating the Women's World Championship in what she called the hardest decision of my career. Initial recovery estimates of 3-4 months were beaten as Ripley returned by July 29, 2024, though she suffered a dramatic shoulder dislocation during her SummerSlam match that she heroically slammed back into place on the commentary table. By May 2025, Ripley admitted the injury contributed to a roller coaster 12 months, breaking down in tears over the emotional toll and physical setbacks. She described ongoing pain and instability, confessing she may need corrective surgery as the non-surgical route left residual issues like reduced power and vulnerability to re-injury. The merchandise meltdown and Logan Paul rejection. Moving from personal scandals to professional frustrations, Ripley's battles with WWE's merchandise design team during 2022 to 2023 revealed a side of the superstar that the company desperately wanted to keep behind closed doors. This period marked a crucial time in Ripley's career as she transitioned from NXT darling to main roster powerhouse, but her distinctive gothic punk aesthetic clashed dramatically with WWE's corporate merchandising machine. Ripley's frustration stemmed from a deliberate personal reinvention that began in 2018, where she ditched her long blonde hair for a black-dyed, spiked look, incorporating punk metal elements that allowed her to bring out this side of me that I always wanted to be, but never thought that I would fit the mold of society. However, WWE's merch ecosystem prioritized broad appeal, family-friendly designs over niche aesthetics, creating a fundamental mismatch with Ripley's goth-like character with a clear affinity for the color black. The tension came to a head during this period when Ripley was climbing the merchandise charts. She ranked number 5 in WWE's overall top sellers for 2023, behind only Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Louisiana Knight, and John Cena. Monthly breakdowns show her consistently in the top 10 from mid 2022 onward, with spikes around major events like Royal Rumble 2023 and Wrestlemania 39. Despite her commercial success, early merch offerings felt mismatched and cartoonish, failing to capture her brooding, metal-inspired intensity. Reddit discussions from the era highlight fan backlash, with users lamenting that Ripley's items looked out of place next to more minimalist designs, with one fan quipping that WWE needed to hire someone decent to design their shirts to make them wearable outside arenas. Ripley was vocal and occasionally theatrical about rejecting designs that didn't fit, with fans sharing clips and memes of her dismissing cheesy fan-made or prototype merch during live events, often with a smirk or eye roll that amplified her heel persona. The most documented example of her pushback came in February 2025 during a backstage segment on Logan Paul's YouTube channel.
I know a lot about merch, and I have I think, a good idea for you. Okay, so you know how you say, this is my brutality? This is my brutality shirt. And this is like the first kind of like mock-up that I did, but...
You know, my dad would really love this shirt.
You could give it to him, but yeah, no, take the idea.
Ripley's dismissive response became instantly viral. This public rejection went viral for its shade.
I don't owe you anything.
No, that one's on the house, Rhea. Okay. And I'm full of ideas. I have more. Yeah. Just let me know. Okay. Because I think people would be like, bro, this is my brutality shirt.
I mean, they would.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Thank you.
Thank you, yeah, thank you.
With Ripley quipping, "I don't owe you anything," before discarding Paul's design concept. The incident, while occurring in 2025, perfectly mirrored the spirit of her 2022 to 2023 rejections of WWE's corporate-approved designs. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.